Hey, friends, I'm Otis Gibbs, and this is my buddy Dan Baird. He's going to tell you a story about his friendship with Slim Dunlap and the Replacements.
Slim and I first met at a match show, and I drove up to Raleigh from Atlanta, where I lived at the time, and because I wasn't going to get to see him, they weren't doing an Atlanta show, and we were going to go back out again, and I just went, fuck it, I'm going to see these guys, I saw him with Bob once, and I saw him with Slim a bunch of times, but this was the first time. And we drove up there, and it was one of the great things about notoriety. We had, it was 88, I guess, 87. And drove up there, and Tommy was actually glad to see it. Damn, fucking Baird. He's drunk as hell. He just rent a caddy into the curb stops. He just jumped one. And come on back, fucker. And we go back, and Slim's feeling a little bit ill, but the other guys are in a pretty good mood, and Chris Mars is in Pappy mode, which is very rare, but Pappy doesn't say anything. He just laughs and push you over. But that's what they called him, Pappy. Anyway, they poured out a couple of beers on the floor and started breakdancing in the slime before the show. and Slim wasn't having much of it because he was feeling pretty bad. He might have gone. But anyway, we had a fun time, sat in with them, blah, blah.
The Replacements were breakdancing in the salon. What's that?
Yeah. They were breakdancing on the dressing room floor, with a couple of bottles of beers just, slung down there to grease it up. Because, the sugar and stuff gets down there, and it just opens up all the grease and stuff, and it just turns. And of course, they were already in their go on stage clothes, so they just got defiled on the dressing room floor. And I think my wife said, "Well, we've seen the show already." But no, they came out, played a couple of songs, sounded great, and then they busted into Sweet Home Chicago. And, Slim was playing the slide, and I was going like, damn, that's a good guitar player. That is an in-the-pocket motherfucker. And he'd played with a band that was regional, Curtis A, that I knew nothing about before that. And this was kind of, outside of the stuff he'd do on his own. Pretty much, I think, his second successful band on any level, where you can actually feed yourself if you have an employed wife, kind of thing. You don't have to have a job. Because you couldn't have Bob Stinson anymore because he was in too bad a shape. You just couldn't have his particular brand of lightning genius, lightning failures, right back to back. Could be 2 bars apart, But he had a something. And Slim, they knew from Minneapolis, he'd been around, and they didn't have a tryout or anything. They went and had a beer and said, this will be good. And he came on, and he did not try and cop Bob, except, he did down, he made sure that, the hooks stayed there, and the rest of it, he just did like he felt. And he did it kind of fearlessly, and there were people, he's as good as Stinson. And I'm going like, he's going to make the next show. He's going to make the opening of the next show. I saw a 4-song late, Bob showing up 4 songs in because he was getting head in the bathroom, which was much more important than showing up for the show. And the other 3 guys did, 3.5 songs, and then Bob just wanders up there. And I went, there's the Replacements. But I did not feel any drop off with Slim. It's like, I don't know how long they had been working before I saw him, but he kind of just fit hand in glove, and it was not as high or low, but it had a strength, a constant strength to it, to where it showed Paul off incredibly, because he wasn't getting in the way of him singing at all, which I think Bob would do every now and then, and just kind of a, you know, shut up, Brad, it's my band still. No, it's not, you know, and Slim knew that. And they were just happy to have an experienced guy that, you know, wouldn't be stood on his head by much of anything, and didn't have to go out and make the 21, 22-year-old mistakes that, you know, and there were a bunch of people that were probably, you know, like Bob devotees that were, you know, as guitar players that were going like, why didn't you hire me? You wouldn't have missed a beat, you know, and it's just like, yeah, we would have. And it's like, and, you know, and kudos to those guys for going, every band grows or dies. There is no middle ground. And they were forced to keep growing, and because you didn't have the pyrotechnics that Bob did, although Slim would blaze some stuff. He would flat blaze some solos. You just didn't have that cauldron of unexpected, you know, ready to blow. They just got better at songs. You know, they were always good at songs, and they always love songs. You know, when the shit hits the fans, you know, they love songs. And they, you know, because you don't know a bunch of a song you don't like. So, you know, Slim had a uniqueness about him that I guess all good players do, you know, but he was truly an individual. He's got a couple of incredible solo records. Springsteen's brought him up a bunch. He loves those records. Slim Bob wrote songs, real songs, and he had that kind of, I don't know whether you want to call it Ronnie Lane, Keith Richards, not the singer, but the perfect singer for these songs. You know, it's a thing of when you watch, you know, Plonk start the vocal on Maybe I'm Amazed, and then Rod Stewart joins in with him, and it's just like, that was the right order to do this. You know, the everyman. There's something about the everyman singing that is always touching. I put together the love songs for the hearing impaired, and was going to go out on tour for it. And I just went, I wonder if he would. You know, he's a great, adaptable guitar player. And I called him up, and he goes, yeah, I'm your fucker. You know, and so, okay, you will be it. And he goes, but I'm running the fucking band. You shut up and sing. Yeah. And we got, I got Keith Christopher and Mauro Magellan, who played on the record. And we learned a handful of Sat songs where we could stretch out and do an hour and a half, 2 hours. And he was always interesting to work with. He had just quit drinking on his own, you know. AAers will know this as dry drunk. But he stayed to it. But he was just, I don't know, man. He's a guru. He's a rock and roll guru. He'll show you how it's done. Slim reinforced it even further much later on when he played in my solo band in '93. Yeah, we were touring Europe, and he'd always goes up to the opening act, how much you getting paid? And they went, we're doing it for the exposure. He went, fuck that. and he'd walk around to the band and crew, give me your per diems. And everybody, after the first time, everybody knew. They just handed over their per diem, and he'd walk over and he'd pay the band. Oh, yeah, Slim Dunlap from the Replacements. A monster human being. A fine guitar player. But these days, I care more about monster human beings than guitar players. And he had a terrible stroke, and about, I think it's probably 10 years now, 8 to 10. And he's still hanging in.
If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more like it, subscribe to my channel and tell me down below what your favorite Replacement song is, and I'll see you somewhere down the road. Much love to you.